Hello, good afternoon and welcome to this edition of The Pulse. We're coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlimle. We are live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Coming up, heavy security presence surrounds whole Central Mosque as Muslims hold Jummah prayers a week after gunmen attacked worshippers and left about 11 wounded. Also this afternoon, NAIMOS disrupts illegal mining along the Ankobra River in a 31st night operation, intensifying its crackdown on Galamsey in the region. We have details of that coming up shortly. Also, Ghana Tertiary Education Commission raises alarm over alleged 25% University of Ghana fee hike and others. Immediate investigation amid students' anxiety over the issue. Ghana is rising again, words of President John Dramani Mahama. He says the economy is poised for massive takeoff after what he described as a year of deliberate groundwork by his administration.
At the dawn of the new year, I stand before you to say our beloved nation Ghana is rising again. We've accomplished a lot together in the past 12 months through prudent management and difficult but necessary reforms.
We hear from an economist who says this may not exactly be the case.
On the real side of the economy, there's still quite a lot of work to be done. We need to think about growth that drives jobs and growth that directly affects ordinary Ghanaians.
Also, former Interior Minister Ambrose Derry raises concern over delays in the construction of the 196-kilometer Wenchi-Solawa Road nearly 2 months after President Mahama cuts the sword for work to begin.
Big push is a great idea, but my people came by road and the big push on the Bole to our road has not been, it's not obvious.
And the big one for tonight, Joy FM's 90s Jam set to deliver a night of classic hits and nostalgic vibes. These and more with me, Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson, here on The Pulse, brought to you by Defendol Cough Expectorant. Defendol, breathe easy, feel better. Please stay for details. Let's get into the details now. Start from the Volta region, and we know that our heavy armed security presence has been deployed at the whole Central Mosque in the Volta region. This follows disturbances last week when armed individuals reportedly stormed the mosque and opened fire on worshippers. The unrest is understood to stem from a long-running dispute over imamship, with two factions contesting the leadership of the regional Muslim community. The main mosque is currently under lock and key, while some members of the community are seen preparing the residence of a leader of one of the factions to perform today's Jummah prayers outdoors. And joining me now is Albert Kuzo, a colleague of mine with myjoyonline.com, who is currently at the area to tell us what's happening. Albert, the Jummah prayers are over in Ho, I guess. How is the situation as we speak? We're still trying to get a good connection with Albert, but we know on your shorts, this is the preparation for the Jummah prayers at the whole, near the whole Central Mosque, we assume. The issue is about the dispute between two leaders for the imamship in the area. And already we know that the Central Mosque has been closed because of the current security situation in the area. And we go now to Zoom and speak to Richard Kumado, who is a security analyst and joins us well to try to connect with my colleague Albert on this matter. Mr. Kumado, we're grateful for your time on the polls this afternoon. At least we understand for the safety of the Muslims in the area as well as residents there, the whole Central Mosque has been put under lock and key. But we also know that some of the Muslims are gathering in one of the factions' residence to conduct the Juma prayers. Looking at how things have gone on, we know that the security personnel in the area should have made arrangements for the Juma prayers, but that wasn't done, and that, you know, angered the Zongo community in whole. Looking at how things have been carried out till date, what will be your view on what's gone on so far?
No, as part of a standard security management procedure, to the extent that people went into the mosques and shot guns, the entire mosque has become part of the crime scene for investigative purposes for the Ghana Police Service. So if you hear that the mosque has been under lock and is being manned by the heavy police armed forces, it's because the investigations have not been completed and the police didn't want to release the mosque to them until the issues have been resolved. It is not the duty of the police and the responsibility of the police to ensure that people come back into the mosque because they are fighting over who become the head of the imam in the area. The police may provide policing, or law enforcement officers may watch over the two factions in their respective avenues for where they want to pray. But coming into the mosque, it is big after the issues have been resolved. So this is where we are.
But seeing that there were no alternatives for worshippers in the area, and looking at that, these worshippers are moving to a supposed the other faction. Is that all right, security-wise?
No, I think if the police identify the two factions, they may separate them, or they may provide key policing activities around where the prayers are going to be held, and the police will urge the authorities along the two factions to resolve the issues. Until the issues are resolved, then their prayer in the mosque will become a bit of a challenge. And that is where we are. I want to urge the authorities among the two factions to be able to resolve as quickly as possible. Other than that, from the position of law enforcement, or as part of law enforcement procedure, they wouldn't allow the two factions to enter into the mosque to be able to shoot guns again. And it's unfortunate as it is, but that is the reality we have to face. And it's unfortunate it happened that way.
Well, hold on for me. Let's go back to the Volta region and at least understand the situation currently. Albert Kozo joins me on the phone lines. Albert, what is the situation as we speak? Are the Juma prayers over?
Yes, the Juma prayers actually, but the after, again, that is prayer. So as I speak, the started numbers, gathering one of the fashion house is the person of after residents. That's where they are beginning to perform the evening prayer. This is because the Central Mosque is locked, our anti-giving lock. I just walked into that area and
Albert, we seem to be having difficulty, but we'll try and get a clean line to you. But let's get back to a security analyst on this. We are talking about the shutdown of the whole Central Mosque has become an issue of concern for Muslim worshippers in the whole area. But so at least now we know, we're talking about the fact that worship has been transferred to the house or the home of one of the disputing factions. In a situation like this, we're also banging our hopes on the security in the area to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand. But looking at the situation now, what will be the right way forward, really?
No, I think the shutdown will last for a period of time. Behind
2
that
weeks.
scene, there will be a number of conversations among the two factions. The Minister of Interior will get involved. The police hierarchy will get involved until they are able to resolve and until investigations are over, because the mosque has become part of the crime scene element. It will be unfortunate to open it out onto them, and that is the reality. Number two, the police will ensure that police activities takes place around any area they may decide to hold their prayers. And until that, those who took the action of shooting guns and killing people or injuring people will have to be dealt with. Until that is done, justice will not be served and the issue of retaliation will be on the drawing board. So it's unfortunate, but this is the reality on the ground.
Well, we've also seen that the Zongo community statement that came out yesterday accused the regional minister of being unfair in the situation, also sounding or asking questions about prosecution of those that, you know, fired into the worshippers during that fateful day, as well as those that haven't been prosecuted yet. For a situation like this and the community seemingly not trusting the regional minister, how will this impact on how events are being run?
No, I understand that inconclusive investigations can lead to some level of mistrust among law enforcement officers and the affected communities or individuals. Non-punishable offenses will always rationalize bad behavior, and it also ensures that those who have become victims will always agitate against the police. And I also understand that the regional minister is the head of RISE, and that is why accusing figures will be pointing at him. But I think the communities or the Muslim community will need to work rather with the IGP and rather with the police hierarchy, so that the police get to the bottom of this and investigate and make sure that the perpetrators are arrested. Fortunately for us, the Minister of Interior has gotten involved and has an interest in this particular matter. I will urge that the BNI and the police will get involved, investigate the matter, make sure perpetrators are arrested and prosecuted, and that will bring some level of closure to what happened on the day. Unfortunately, as it is, violence has no place in our religious circles. Violence creates division, and violence can create some level of distractions among them. And this is the reality we are facing on the grounds now.
Well, Mr. Kumado, I'll come back to you again. Let's try and get Albert on the line to understand the current situation. Albert, is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yes, only if I can hear you.
Great.
You cannot hear me.
Yes. Yes, it's fine. So what's the situation now?
Yeah, so the situation is people are still gathering for the evening prayer. That is the Azhar prayer. Earlier this noon, they held the Juma prayer in the house of one of the parties in a person of Alpha Anas Al-Haji. But as I speak to you, they started gathering again in their numbers to perform the evening prayer. And again, in the residence of Alpha Anas, not in the Central Mosque. For the Central Mosque, it is still locked. And heavy security presence is there now from the Ghana Police Service, the military, and the National Security Authority. They are all there now, you know, going around, in and out around the Zongo community. Yeah.
Right. So, Albert, how would you describe the mood, the worshippers gathering, you know, to say their prayers on their faces? What's the mood, really?
Well, I can report that there is nothing like they are in fear, or you can't say there's something like a dispute here in the Zongo community. They are smiling, going up and down, doing what they are supposed to do. A few minutes ago, I was able to interact with some of them, and they are telling me that yes, the mosque is blocked, but then that cannot stop them from performing what they are supposed to do, or that distract what their religion. So they will continue to do what they are supposed to do. And also, why now one of the parties goes, instead of getting a place, a neutral ground where two sides come together. And they say that those because they believe the outcome they are doing that. That's why the point of sides follows the president to first. We are told they are living happily. There's nothing showing that there's a dispute among them. But when it comes to security and safety, some of them are claiming that mostly the women they are living in fear because of the heavy or armed security presence here for the past 3 days. They are living in fear. The children are not able to move freely. Some also allege that this dawn, when the security were deployed, they actually tagged them from the mosque. There's this tree around the mosque where they see in the morning, in local communities where they have prayer. But when the security arrived today, they were forced to leave the premises. So these are some of the concerns they are raising, that the security presence is creating fear and panic among them, especially children and women.
But let's come to the worship area today. I mean, where they held the Juma prayers and also preparing to have their evening prayers. Has the security extended their services or their men towards that side as well?
Not at all, not at all. As we speak, they are based at the Central Mosque. I tried to speak with the head of the person who is leading the team, the security team, but he declined to speak to the media. So as we speak, no, they are not here. It's not related to the residents of Alpha Anna. They are based at the Central Mosque, and the Muslim folks are also doing their thing in this fashionist house, where I am currently reporting from.
So, have you heard anything from the other side? I mean, this is the home of one faction. Have we heard anything from the other side? Also, are they also trying to, hold their own prayers?
Good. So I know the family house on the other side. I was there during the Juma prayers, but there was nobody. Some of the women I saw in the house, they don't have any authority to speak unless we hear from Haji Munir, who is the other person, or who is the other person who was not around. Right now, as we speak, they are also not gathering. And I understand that allegedly they do not have any space to perform prayers here in this Zogo, the main Zogo community. That is why they are nowhere to be found.
But has this tension affected the free movement of people in the area, at least moving to and fro, going about their normal activities?
Exactly, especially the women, as I mentioned earlier, the women are saying that they are living in fear, women and children. For the men, they say they are okay because they can face it, but for the women and children, the life they used to live, that is moving around about freely, they cannot do that again. Because indeed, when you approach the mosque, you will see these personnel with firearms and all that. The ones that build their bodies, you see them and there's a fear. Yes, so for the women and the children, they say how they go about it, they cannot do that. But for the men, they say they are full and they are moving up and down. But for the women and the children, they are indeed living in fear.
Just before I let you off, have you picked up any information that the regional minister is around the area? Because, yesterday we received a statement from the Zongo community accusing him of being unfair. Has there been any efforts to reach out to the community, at least to explain the current situation to them?
So I was here yesterday, but what I saw has to do with the RESEC, the Regional Security Council. Just that the regional minister, who is the chairman, was not part. I didn't see him. Today I was here as well, I didn't see him. But these men who are from the RESEC committee are around, and as regional to speak, they are also around.
Right. Thank you very much, Albert Kuzo, for that update in whole. Let's go on Zoom now and still speak to our security analyst who has joined us on this. But let me get your initial reactions on the report Albert just gave us. What do you make of the current situation?
No, what it is that the mosque has been called up. They don't want any security breaches again. And number two, it will be important for the police to provide professional policing around the area so that nobody takes advantage of the vulnerabilities and opening up fire, killing subsequent persons. On the issue of the regional minister, I believe public engagement will be proper, and this is somebody who relates with the community so well. So we will urge him to speak to the communities and let them understand the importance of closing up the mosque and why the mosque has to be under lock for some time. But I'm also hoping that the IGP and his team will get involved, get the perpetrators arrested, let prosecution take place, and let investigations be conclusive. That is the only way to bring closure to many of the people who have been hurt, and the two factions can come to some level of peace. It's also important to let them understand that to the extent that you keep on fighting, these are some of the difficulties that's going to come your way. So it's better you live together and pray together and have community engagement among yourself. And until you are able to do that, then the state will be forced to come in. And once the state comes in, this is one of the reactions of the state, and you may not be comfortable with that.
Well, the bane of the issue is about secession, the leadership at loggerheads, because all of them want to occupy that position of imam in the region. What will be the the proper way out, or a succession plan that will be devoid of, you know, bickering, fights, or even misunderstanding?
This is a religious matter. They have a standard procedure for appointing who become imam, and they have a standard procedure for succession. If you liken it onto chieftaincy, I have always believed, and I always had a personal view, that two persons cannot be chiefs at the same time. In one community, it's either one is lying and one is telling the truth. If we liken it to what is happening, it means that two persons cannot be imam at the same time. Whatever be the case, let the chief imam comes involved, and let the Ahmadiyya Muslims come involved, and whatever be the issue, the Muslims community in Ghana have a way of resolving their issues. And they need to resolve it in a manner that do not degenerate into chaos. Once you do that, the law enforcement presence will come in, and they may not take side, they will enforce the laws, and that will come with high levels of discomfort, just like what we are witnessing.
Well, it's not the first time that the chief imam has intervened in the situation. I mean, until this incident that's brought all of us here, the chief imam's personal assistant told us that they've mediated between these same parties, but have refused to implement the advice that they gave them. Is it time that they adopted other ways of doing things except to toe the line of religion?
Definitely, yes. It can be. Once you create a public safety issue, the state will come in. And once the state comes in, the state has the power and a responsibility to possess the place. It means that they are not going to have access to the mosque. And whenever they set up a mosque, if the same issues prevail, the state will keep on taking responsibility and acting. But to the extent that it's a religious issue, some other people won't want to go to court and text it at the law court. Would that resolve the issue? Yes or no? Will it bring lasting peace to the place? Yes or no? They will need to tread cautiously. But the point I'm making is that if they cannot resolve their issues, then if they donate into public chaos, the state has a responsibility and the duty to ensure that life and properties are preserved. And those who flout the Public Order Act will be prosecuted. So that is what we are.
Would it be extreme to take out of the region the issue of original chief imam, you know, take away the position, or at least ensure that that doesn't even happen at all, to cool tempers?
From where you and I come from, in the city of Bo, we should not be talking about Muslims and Christians fighting over who is a chief pastor, who is a chief imam. It should be over who is the Awomefia or who is the Shriner. And people want to go to shrine and pour libation. But you see what Christianity and Islamic is doing to our region. I am thinking that our people will need to act with circumspection. They will need to calm down and act properly. They should love themselves and know that religion brings people together. Other than that, the Shriners will be looking at us and they'll be saying that, look at what our children are doing. They should come to the shrine and pour libation. And I want to believe that Toby Afede and all the persons of the area, our elders, our aunties and uncles, even though it's our brothers from the Muslim side that are fighting among one another, they should get involved and call them home. And let tradition prevail, let peace prevail, let harmony prevail, and let development come to go. We cannot be developing whilst we are shooting and killing one another. It is not acceptable, and we have to condemn it in this sense.
So after 2 weeks, if they are not able to resolve these issues, what would be the way forward? Because now the mosque has been closed or shut down, which is also preventing others from saying their prayers. What should be the alternative?
What I know is that if after 2 weeks they are not able to resolve, then national security will take a decision, and RISEC will take a decision, IGP will take a decision, Ministry of Interior will take a decision, and if it means that they will have to prolong it for a very long time until they are able to resolve their internal issues, that will be the best way forward. Right. Having said that, those who shot the gun will need to be arrested, and the perpetrators must be prosecuted. That is also one way of bringing trust and of bringing liberty and freedom to those who have been hurt and those who have been injured until there's a closure it's going to linger on, and there could be some level of retaliation, which might be more deadly than what we witnessed in the first place.
I'm very grateful, Richard Kumado, security consultant, for joining us this afternoon on The Pulse. Enjoy the rest of the day. As part of December 31 operations to cap the year 2025, the NAIMOS task force operating in the Western and Western North regions carried out massive raids on illegal mining sites at Jura Banso in the Evaluate-Jura district, particularly within communities along the Ankobra River. The illegal miners fled upon sighting the task force at various locations. The operation was aimed at flashing out Galamsey operators working along and directly on the Ankobra River. During the exercise, several dredging platforms, chamfan machines, pipelines, water pumping equipment, and other mining tools were destroyed. The task force also set ablaze a number of makeshift structures erected along the riverbanks to protect or support the illegal mining activities. Now, let's get on Zoom now and speak to my colleague Erastus Asaridonko. Erastus, what more can you tell us about this operation?
So NAIMOS has been very busy on the river Ankobra because this river has seen quite a number of illegal mining operations on the river itself and along the river at Evaluate-Jura and Jura Banso. And so yesterday, the NAIMOS had been very active in the Nzema towns, going back to where they were about a month ago to drive out those recalcitrant miners who have come back along the river banks to mine in that area. They have also been arresting 5 people who are going around as talks in the name of NAIMOS, operating in the Achim Chibi Akwadum area. They arrested 5 people who were posing as NAIMO operatives and extorting monies from miners along that stretch. And so they have also been arrested and facing justice. So I must say that the operation is still ongoing. They are trying to wrap up the year along the Ankobra to ensure that the Ankobra, the banks of it, and the river itself is free of illegal mining activities.
What will you do, how will you describe the state of the Ankobra River as we speak?
Murky, very brown. It's still very polluted as we speak. And in some parts of it, per the Water Resources Commission data, we are running still into thousands in turbidity units. And it will take some time if we are able to clear all the miners who are using chamfan machines on the river itself and along it in the Nzema areas. Then it will breathe a sigh of relief and be able to restore itself. But currently, as we speak, it's still very polluted. Now, let me update you on some 28 Chinese nationals and 3 Ghanaians who were arrested recently, if you remember, in the Apamprama Forest Reserve, where they were trying to pitch camp and mine in that forest reserve. So they have been arraigned before the Bekwai Circuit Court. All of them have been remanded into police custody to reappear on the 12th of this month. Now, their lawyer has been praying the court to grant them bail because, one, they do not speak the Twi language and they cannot get the translator at the moment, and 2, he thinks that they came into the country recently and were not aware of what exactly they were going to do. They said that their Ghanaian collaborators told them that they were going to do reclamation, and so they had no idea that they were going to do any form of illegal mining. I must say that, Mamiesi, I can tell you that there are some big fishes who have since then been trying very much to get bail for these Chinese nationals. And in due time, we're still gathering data. We'll be briefing you on who these people are and what they have been doing so far to try to get into this case and free the Chinese nationals.
Right. So will you say that at least we are on the right path to curbing illegal mining?
Well, I would say that we are doing something. Government is doing something. NAIMOS is up to something very good, and we applaud that. As to whether we are out of the woods, no, we are not out of the woods, but we are on the right track, and we need to still continue to do the enforcement, especially along the riverbanks, the major rivers that we have, the Pra, Ankobra, the Brim, Ayensu, the Bia, the Tano, we need to still police and enforce the laws on it. As the lands minister put it, these are red zones, no-go areas for mining, and we should be able to enforce that going forward to be able to win the war, at least along our major rivers.
Right. Thank you, Rastus, for that update. Let's speak to Awula Sawa now. She's also an anti-Galamsey campaigner, and she joins me now on the polls. We're grateful for your time, Ma'am. Seeing what's happening and also the information we're getting now from Erastus, does this satisfy you a bit that there's something right, or the fight is getting better against illegal mining?
Well, first of all, good Happy New Year to you, and
Happy New Year,
my brother Erastus. Now, let me say this: because of the magnitude of the tax, the scale of illegal mining going on in the country, I don't need to. So many of us have been polluted and picked up. There's a right to take materials before soldiers.
Ma'am, if you could reposition yourself a bit, it's difficult making sense of what you're saying.
Can you hear me any better? It might be the network.
Yeah, this is much better. I hope we can keep it this way. Yes, carry on.
Yes, I was saying that it's about the enormity of the task. NAIMOS is doing its best, but it needs to be better resolved. And we need to do some shock and awe. The Forestry Commission to be well equipped to be dealing with the illegal miners in the forest reserve. NAIMOS should have the support of perhaps the Navy and the armed forces, the Army, so that they can have more activity on our water bodies. So many of them are being encroached by the illegal miners. So many of our water bodies have been diverted. And we need to remove the champan. So the point I'm making is that NAIMOS needs to be better resolved, to have more boots on the ground, so that they can be keeping various areas simultaneously. As it is, they are doing their best with the tools that they have, but it's not enough. Look at it this way: there are 1,000 fires raging at the same time. They are dealing with one at a time. But we need more fire engines. We need more resources, so that we can deal with more of the fires at the same time, because time is what's on our side.
Right. And with that, my question is, how is your campaigning? Now that we've entered a new year, how will this fight inform your campaign against the fight moving into this new year?
Moving into a new year, we are saying that NAIMOS should be better resolved. One NAIMOS officer has been killed, if I am correct. And we wonder how the family is being supported, because he died in active duty fighting irresponsible mining. So going into 2026, we want the Forestry Commission to be supported in their demand to, I think they ask for paramilitary status so that they can better fight irresponsible mining in the forest reserve. We are campaigning for their demands to be met. We are also campaigning for NAIMOS to be better resolved. They need to have a dedicated telephone number that people can call when there's illegal mining going on. We are also campaigning for communities to be supported, communities that are fighting irresponsible mining. We are campaigning for the Atronsi fight, for the charges against them to be dropped. These are persons who are protecting their landscape and the only source of drinking water, the Atronsi stream, from irresponsible illegal miners. The illegal miners are working through, the activists have rather been charged and are being prosecuted. So our campaign is to have the charges dropped against them and for communities to be supported so that they can be part of the fight against illegal mining. For the police to support, and when illegal miners are arrested, maybe citizens restless to be more helpful in supporting those who are fighting against illegal mining. So that is where we are. And we are also campaigning that the water should be analyzed and the results published so that Ghanaians are aware of the toxins or heavy metals in the water that they are drinking.
And much of 2025, you were pushing for kingpins behind these operations to be brought to book. Have you been able to at least identify some of them and reported them to the police?
Yes, some of them have been identified. They've been reported to Parliament. They've been reported to the police. I don't want to call names on air, but maybe further down the line, I won't do that. But persons have been reported, and we're still waiting for action to be done. So we are strategizing, and we have to come to naming and shaming. But no, we're not very happy at the way kingpins are not being dealt with robustly. We still want those names in Professor Boateng's report to be dealt with.
Right.
And we want the polluter pays principle to apply. For any person found guilty of being involved in illegal mining, to have their assets sold and used towards the cost of reclamation, which is a very expensive business.
We're grateful for your time. Awula Sewa, she's coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens, telling us how they're also campaigning against illegal mining. Well, motorists have welcomed the reduction in fuel prices at the start of the year, describing it as a positive signal for the months ahead. However, many remain cautious, saying the relief is yet to be felt in their pockets and that the high cost of spare parts makes an immediate reduction in transport fares unlikely. My colleague Sheila Sechi visited the Circle New Plant Station earlier today and interacted with some motorists.
Fuel prices have reduced, but not across the board. While some stations have lowered their prices, others are still selling at higher rates.
I applied the Kumasi Accra route. Previously, I bought fuel worth 6,000 cedis, but today I bought 5,000 and my tank was full.
I don't agree that fuel prices have reduced. I am yet to see any change, and even if there is, I don't think it will be sustained.
If you say, fuel water on 1 cedi, 3 days after, you go say 3 cedis.
So this driver is contemplating the stability of the fuel reduction. Now he is not too sure if we are going to see it sustained. Fuel laba for me, it be affected transport fares and so on.
There be nientia entumi enfesino. Aboso kan engine ties ni nyoma no. Omo de omo enti suye. Omo de so omo so etiso a na ye nso atilori feniso. Tie we 6 million. Fish tie. C'est somme ton 7 million. 8 million. C'est engine 500 million, 800 million, 1 million. Aboso kan de omo de omo ntijai. So omo anyone ntino sana eti.
We cannot agree to a reduction in transport fares yet because spare parts at Abosilkan are still expensive. If spare parts dealers reduce their prices, then we may consider reducing fares as well.
Meanwhile, some oil marketing companies have begun reducing fuel prices at the pumps in line with industry projections. Effective January 1, 2026, market leader Star Oil is taking the initiative by cutting the price of petrol from 11 cedis 35 pesos to 10 cedis 36 pesos per litre, while diesel has been reduced from 12 cedis 45 to 11.96 per litre. Here's more.
Despite these official reductions, some selected service stations across the country are selling fuel at even lower prices under Star Oil's discounted pricing model. Other major OMCs have also indicated to Joy Business that they will adjust their pump prices beginning January 2, 2026. With more than 200 OMCs currently operating nationwide, pricing decisions by leading players are expected to influence the broader market. Industry analysts note that if the recent recovery of the city is sustained, consumers could benefit from further price reductions in the coming weeks. In its Outlook report for January 2026, The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies projected that petrol prices would decline by 2.40% to 4.80%, bringing the pump price to about 11 cedis 90 pesos per litre. Diesel prices were expected to fall as much as 3.77%, potentially selling around 12 cedis 50 pesos per litre. Liquefied petroleum gas was also projected to drop by approximately 2.19%, with a kilogram expected to sell at about 13 cedis 40 pesos. According to the chamber, the anticipated reductions are largely driven by falling crude oil prices and lower costs of finished petroleum products on the international market. Data shows that during the period under review, international refined product prices declined significantly, petrol by 9.17%, diesel by 8.11%, and LPG by 3.82%. Additionally, the cedi has strengthened against the US dollar, appreciating by more than 3% over the past 3 weeks. For the January 1, 2026 pricing window, the local currency gained 8.20%, moving from 11 cedis 14 pesos to 10 cedis 50 pesos to the dollar. This represents one of the strongest performances in recent months and a sharp improvement compared to the 14 cedis 84 pesos recorded during the same period last year.
Well, given the current fuel prices, the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Rivers Sinopong, spoke on the recent reductions and assessing the outlook for fuel prices in the next pricing windows amid movements in global crude oil prices and the performance of the cedi.
We are downstream sector is indeed happy to notice the market trends in the international benchmark prices, and also with the cedi appreciation that we've seen over the two windows. That is bringing us to petrol dropping by 2.4 to 4.8, or let me say 5%. And also diesel also dropping to 2.5 to say 3.77. LPG likewise also dropping. And if you take a look at the international benchmark price for the past 2 weeks, we indeed saw the crude oil market going down by almost 8%. And over the next two windows also, making it a month, due to abundant global supply and rising inventory, which has continued to overweight the geopolitical risk, which we have seen around Russia-Ukraine war in the Middle East, and even Venezuela. We also anticipate that the international benchmark price will be either stable or go a bit down. And so if the cedi is able to appreciate or even stabilize, we believe that for the next 1 or 2 months, we're going to enjoy a very stable pump prices in Ghana.
Well, it's a good time to bring communication team member of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Samuel Amwa, into the conversation. We're grateful for your time, sir. And consistently for some time, fuel prices go down, yet transport prices remain the same. Why not reduce prices?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Let me use this opportunity to say good afternoon and also wish you and your crew happy new year.
Grateful.
Yeah, sure. We have seen some reduction, as you rightly said, of the petroleum product. But if you can check, our past records, the whole of 2025, there wasn't anything like a transport fares. Although by then the fuel price was very high, we saw some reductions, but our challenge was at the area of the cost of the spare parts, the cost of lubricants, then the taxes. We don't only use one component to run the business. That is only the fuel price. We also consider the spare parts, the lubricants, the taxes. But as I'm speaking to you now, yes, we have seen some reductions on the fuel prices. We're still hoping that the spare parts and the other components will drop a little bit. Last year, drivers complained seriously, and some of the unions even try increasing transport fare, but the GPRT came in and we try, we draw things now for, them not to increase any transport fare. So at the moment, as it is, dropping now, where it is now, we can't decide right now as to, coming to call for a reduction of transport fare again. We just want to check to see how the spare parts and the other components too will be before we also, check. We have a team that normally goes out to check all these components to, do their calculations, so that if we are saying today we are reducing transport fares, it will not affect the transporters. We do things, to balance the whole equation so that one side will not be affected. So at the moment, we can't reduce transport fares for now, but let's, going forward, we have just begun the year. So going forward, we also, sit down and see how things will go before we consider whether if we are to reduce, then how much percentage are we to reduce. So at the moment, we can't reduce transport fares for now.
Thank you very much, Samuel Amwa. He's with the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. And this is The Pulse. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to The Pulse. Now, a wave of anxiety and frustration is rippling through the University of Ghana as students react to a newly released provisional fee schedule showing sharp increases in academic costs. The proposed hikes, averaging more than 25%, have triggered urgent calls for university management to explain the justification for such steep adjustments. The provisional figures now in the public domain present a harsh reality for both fresh entrants and continuing students coming just months before the start of the new academic year. With the financial burden set to rise significantly, many students say they are uncertain about their ability to cope as concerns over affordability and access to education take center stage. Excerpts of the breakdown of fees cited by JoyNews is what's showing on your screens now. And this is a statement we just saw with the University of Ghana. And you see that the schedule undergraduate regular paying students, and under that you have the humanities, the Bachelor of Arts, and also humanities, admin, and law. And the approved fees, the regular students, freshmen, which is level 100, are paying 2,343 Ghana cedis. And according to that breakdown, also you have an additional third-party addition, which amounts to 767, adding to that, making the total amount 3,110. Now for the humanities, that's administration and law, they were paying 2,459 cedis. Now with the additional fee of 767, they'll now be paying 3,226. Now for continuing students, which are level 200, 300, and 400, they were paying 1,798 cedis with an additional fee of 455 cedis, and now they'll be paying 2,253 for the humanities. And then for the law students, 1,914 cedis with an additional 455, they're paying 2,360 now. Now for level 200 and 300 freshmen, for them, for the humanities, they are paying 2,407, and then with the additional 767, they are now paying 3,174. For that, for the law and administration, they are paying 2,523 cedis with an addition of 767, making 3,290 cedis. Now for postgraduate students, the regular students for level 200 freshmen are paying 14,088 cedis with the additional fee of 767, are paying 14,855. Now for level 300 and 400, they're paying 14,088 cedis with an additional of 455 cedis, are now paying 14,543 cedis. And so we have the breakdown of the third-party fees there with SRC Postal Development fees now 300 cedis, the 75th Anniversary Legacy Project fee 100 cedis, SRC Welfare 50 cedis, reprographic fees making 5 cedis, and Telecel Data 312 cedis for level 100 and freshman diploma. Humanities, and these are for regular students as well. I think freshmen are paying 5,319, and with the additional fees we'll be paying 6,086, and for the humanities 6,402, with the additional paying 7,169, and the list goes on. Meanwhile, speaking to my colleagues, Carlos Coloni, Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, Professor Ahmed Jinapo, expressed strong concern over the reported 25% fee increment, saying the Commission is investigating the matter and will compel the University of Ghana to reverse the increase if its findings confirm the hikes.
What you make of it? What steps are you going to take about this particular incident?
Well, as you are aware, the Minister for Education did direct GTEC to issue a statement to the effect that this year, that is the 2025-2026 academic year, fees are not supposed to be increased for all publicly funded tertiary institutions. And I think somewhere in November, we issued such a statement. Today, it's come to the attention of the Commission, which is GTEC. The University of Ghana has increased their fees by 25%. We are yet to get official confirmation from the university. We intend to write to the university for them to confirm if that is the case. And if it is not, the better for us. But if it is, then the university will be compelled to reverse such increments, because it has not been approved by Parliament, which is the statutory body responsible for increment of fees for tertiary, especially public tertiary institutions. So that is the position of the Commission. We are yet to get a confirmation from the University of Ghana relative to this increment. And as I indicated, if it is the case that they did increase it without recourse to the laid-down procedures, then they will be asked to reverse it.
All right. So what would you want to say to other universities that may be considering such an increment also?
No university is allowed to increase fees, including University of Ghana, when it comes to academic facility user fees. Academic facility user fees are determined by Parliament. And as I indicated, GTEC did write to all public funded universities and colleges that this year fees have not been increased, so they are supposed to stay within last year's academic facility user fees, which is 2024-2025. So to the best of our knowledge, all institutions are abiding by it, including University of Ghana. So it came to us as a surprise that there's this news item that University of Ghana has increased its fees by 25% without recourse to the laid-down procedure. So as the regulatory agency, we'll be writing officially to University of Ghana for them to explain if it is the case. If it is not, then the better for all of us. But if it is the case that they did increase their fees without recourse to the laid-down procedure, then they would have to reverse it.
Okay. Finally, students, we are told, are already reporting to campus, and if in case any of them have already paid these fees.
Well, I think there are mechanisms for dealing with such issues. Either their accounts will be credited for the coming year, or their money should be refunded to them.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama says Ghana is firmly on the path to recovery 1 year after his administration inherited what he described as a nation deep in economic and social distress. In his New Year message, the president said the past 12 months have been marked by prudent economic management and difficult but necessary reforms which have helped stabilize the economy and restore confidence. He noted that the foundation laid in 2025 now positions the country for accelerated growth in this year, stressing that sustaining the gains will require focus, discipline, and collective effort.
I can confirm that the promise of renewal we made was not mere rhetoric, It was a covenant, and we have begun to deliver on that covenant. 1 year ago, we inherited a nation in distress, an economy on its knees, unemployment crushing our youth, infrastructure crumbling, public trust eroded, and hope dimming in the eyes of our people. We're told that the recovery would take a generation, but I knew something our critics did not know. I knew the resilient spirit of the Ghanaian people. At the dawn of the new year, I stand before you to say our beloved nation Ghana is rising again. We've accomplished a lot together in the past 12 months through prudent management and difficult but necessary reforms. We've reduced inflation from the distressing levels above 23% by the end of 2024 and are hopeful to end 2025 with inflation at single digits of just above 5%. We have achieved relative currency stability and on track to be ranked among the best performing currencies in the world for 2025. We're accelerating economic growth and creating more opportunities for our young people. We've restored business confidence and have seen a significant increase in both domestic and foreign direct investment.
The president also highlighted stabilization of the fundamentals and removal of structural obstacles, but with specific reforms over the past year are most consequential, and are they enough to shift the economy towards higher sustained growth? Professor Patrick Isuming is an economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School.
When the president said the foundation has been laid, he's probably referring to the fact that the macroeconomic environment has been relatively stabilized from the last few years, especially in 2022. So, I mean, there's no denying the fact, and he did refer to the macroeconomic indicators. Now, so from that score, I think it's a fair point for the president to say a strong foundation has been laid. You specifically have to mention the fact that the tax regime has improved somewhat for businesses. And more importantly, the falling interest rate has meant that the cost of credit has come down. So I think it's a good platform for businesses to build on. That is on the monetary and financial side. I think on the real side of the economy, there's still quite a lot of work to be done. We need to think about growth that drives jobs and growth that directly affects ordinary Ghanaians. This year, agri production has done great, but in the years prior, we saw that it wasn't very good. So you expect that we build a foundation that ensures that there's all year round farming, especially of perishables. Having a procurement system that favors purchasing made in Ghana. Leading up to the Christmas, I'm sure you've heard of situations where rice farmers, maize farmers have produced a lot, and we were struggling to get markets, and then prices were cramping. So those kind of real system interventions to ensure that when we are producing, there's enough processing. I think that is the area, that's the kind of foundation that we need to build in addition to the macroeconomic environment to ensure that the growth will lead to prosperity.
Now, on the fight against corruption, President Mahama said every cedi belonging to the state must be fully accounted for as his government intensifies efforts to clamp down on corruption across all sectors of the economy. He emphasized that the anti-corruption drive will be pursued without fear or favor, insisting that no individual will be shielded from accountability.
We shall deliver social housing through public-private partnerships, and we shall intensify the fight against corruption with no sacred cows. Every cedi belongs to the people of Ghana and must be accounted for. We'll implement the recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee to make our 1992 Constitution an even greater guide for the consolidation of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, governments do not build nations alone. They do that with the cooperation of the citizenry. As we enter 2026, I call upon each one of you. First, our young people. You're not the leaders of tomorrow. You are the leaders of today.
Well, the president also reaffirmed his administration's commitment to infrastructure development, describing it as a critical driver of national progress. He disclosed that work has begun on the rehabilitation of more than 2,000 kilometers of roads nationwide, aimed at improving transportation, facilitating the movement of goods and services, and supporting local businesses.
Our young people are Ghana's greatest assets. We're beginning to see significant growth in sectoral performance. Construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and services are showing very strong growth. This is creating a new opportunity for decent employment for our youth. Infrastructure is the backbone of development. We have begun the rehabilitation of over 2,000 kilometers of roads nationwide. We've restored a consistent supply of electricity and are expanding the rural electrification network to more than 1,000 additional communities.
This afternoon, the Ghana Union of Traders Association says it remembers, or its members will continue trading without charging VAT, as they yet to receive the new tax receipt booklets from the GRA. The VAT reform, which took effect yesterday, reduced the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20% and raised the registration threshold from 200,000 cedis to 750,000 cedis. Speaking to JoyNews, GUTA President Clement Boateng said members will begin charging VAT once the new receipt booklets are issued.
Even though implementation is starting tomorrow, luckily for us, we are on holidays, and the real implementation, as far as I'm concerned, will start on Monday. So since currently we haven't had any modalities from the GRA as far as implementation is concerned, we think we are going to, be making our sales without charging any VAT until we get a clear-cut, direction from GRA.
Well, Clement Boateng also spoke on JoyNews today about further information on the VAT rate.
Not yet. So like I told you in our earlier conversation, we are still waiting, to have a clear-cut modalities from GRA. In this connection, I have had some discussions with some officials of GRA, and we are trying to arrange a meeting with them on Monday, and I take it from there.
You've also been calling for inclusion in the new modified tax system. Why do you believe this should be prioritized?
Yes, this should be prioritized because, like I earlier told you, we have had, some extensive work as far as the new modified tax system is concerned with GRA, and we think most of our members are placed within that threshold of 200,000 to 750,000. And we are all also trading in the same, vicinity, in the same commodity line. So we think most of our members, are in a better position, to be on the new modified tax system rather than the 20% VAT, in order to curb the
Well, former Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has raised concerns over delays in construction of the 196-kilometer Wenchi-Solawa Road nearly 2 months after President Mahama cut sword for work to begin. While commending the government initiative, he's calling for faster progress on the project and renewed attention to stalled Agenda 111 hospital project. Rafiq Salam reports.
Former Interior Minister Ambrose Derry's exclusive interview on the margins of his annual New Year party at Kokolugu covered a wide range of issues including education, health, judicial process, road infrastructure, and the MPP flag bearership contest. He described the Big Push project by President John Dramani Mahama as a great idea, but was unhappy with the slow pace of implementation. President John Dramani Mahama, a couple of months ago, at 2 separate events at Sola and Gole in the Savannah and Upper West regions, broke the ground for work to begin on the Wanchi-Solawa Road and the Watumuhen-Tumunabrango Road. Ambrose expected work to begin in earnest, but not an inch of blade space has been constructed so far.
They talk of big push. It's a great idea, but my people came by road, and the big push on the Bole to our road has not been, it's not obvious. I believe if it's to start, it has not yet started. My appeal is that it should be started. The president rightly recognized that road has been awarded, and I'm happy that they are trying to mobilize money to do it. But probably they should do it a little bit faster. 1 year is gone, and we'll have 3 more years, but effectively you have 2 more years.
Ambrose waded into the issue of bail conditions granted by the courts, which he thinks could be addressed better.
People have bail that are delayed or not granted, and when they are granted, the various sums are rather colossal. Yes, it can be related to the value of what the offense or loss that has been occasioned. But in some of those cases where they have properties involved, like properties that you are frozen and are in your control, probably there should be a better way of handling it.
On the MPP flag bearer contest, though he sided with the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as the best man for the job, he urged aspirants to campaign with decorum and civility in order not to poison their interpersonal relationship, which will jeopardize their chance of uniting in their bid to annex power from the NDC.
Of course, I have my preference. I would want Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Elijah Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to be the flag bearer. He has the qualities to be. He's conducted his campaign in a very simple manner. He doesn't call people's names. He does not insult people. And I encourage him to continue that way and encourage the others to work together. And that at the end of the day, whoever wins, we work together so that we can get power for the MPP.
Another issue of worry for the former Nandom legislature, which he voiced out, was a stalled Agenda 111 project.
And that's why the nurses have a challenge now. We were expecting that all those will be facilities that will give employment to the nurses. So yes, by all means, investigate whatever you want to investigate. At the end of the day, the government should also go ahead and do what I think is the needful. Every district should be given a facility. Now, let me say, I believe has a facility that is growing very, very well. So I would want all these projects to go on.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Kokoligu.
Residents are being urged to rethink perceptions of persons living with disabilities, recognizing them as citizens with rights, skills and aspirations. The barriers they face in education, employment and healthcare, officials say, stem more from societal neglect than from physical conditions. The Municipal Chief Executive for Tano South, Emmanuel Kwame Frimpong, made the remarks in Bechim, Ahafo region during a ceremony where business equipment and financial support were presented to 72 persons with disabilities to boost their livelihoods. Correspondent Emmanuel Edujemfi reports.
Municipal and district assemblies are reminded by the Constitution the Persons with Disability Act 2006 at 715 and the principles of social justice and equity to include vulnerable groups in society during the allocation of national resources. The intervention forms part of the Assembly's deliberate efforts to translate policy into tangible action, with the items carefully selected based on individual requests and technical advice from the Assembly. Emmanuel Kwame Frimpong, the Tano South Municipal Chief Executive, assured that the Disability Fund, under his supervision, is managed transparently.
As the people with disability fund, when it's always released, we always ensure that we use it for the benefit of the target groups. Today we are witnessing a very transparent and accountable assembly showcasing what the money that we have received so far has been used for.
The MCE cautioned beneficiaries to use the items and funds strictly for their intended purposes.
We admonish the beneficiaries not to sell the items that they have received here, but rather they should use it for economic benefits that will enhance their livelihood. Actually, we don't want to see them by the roadside begging for alms. They came out with the things that they want, and the farm management, through their scrutiny, came out with the items which will be best for them.
Gladys Jury, the Tano South Municipal Director of Social Welfare and Community Development, reiterated her department's role in monitoring the use of the support to ensure sustainability.
The role of the department is to ensure that these equipment they are used for the rightful purpose. We are encouraging persons with disability who received various equipment for their businesses to involve in basic business trades that will improve their livelihood.
She also highlighted the absence of an educational institution in the Ahafo region dedicated to training persons with special medical and educational needs, calling for urgent action to address the gap.
The whole Ahafo, I'm speaking from Bechim, Ahafo, we don't have any special needs school, but we have children with autism, cerebral palsy, and then we have all other forms of disability within the Ahafo region. We want individuals, NGOs to help us build rehabilitation centers, build schools for persons with disability so that we can train them, because that is what will bring attitudinal change and change in our thoughts and change in our behaviors.
The New Year edition of the Lava Film Family Party in the Park has climaxed in grand style at the Kumasi Rotary Park, with patrons soaking in live band music as the curtains drew on the day-long celebration. Energetic dance moves to sing alongs, and the atmosphere remained electric as families refused to leave the park. The phenomenal increase in attendance compared to last year signaled the growing acceptance of the Lava Film Family Party in the park as Kumasi's biggest outdoor family event to usher in the new year. Clinton Yabwa reports. This is where
all the fun is at the Love FM Family Party in the park, and all the dance, all the music you hear is the climax of a day-long activity. And from now till when everybody gets tired, there's going to be music and music and music, and just as you can see, it's going to be more dancing and dancing.
I feel so. I see a genie. I go be any say. Say any say. I was just a genie. We are on coffee. What I say? This when you are on coffee, me boy. David, whatever can go. Come to here.
Well, the excitement is enormous, bruh. Now they on coffee.
When ya, me no coffee where they. Men konnen kwatina me wa haya ko pemi say o manga se besa wono free ase akọ eni je nkwane o wa.
You engage more patrons. It seems like the excitement is overwhelming, and just as you heard from them, until they get tired, they are not going to leave the dancing floor. Mami, when you're Japan, Papa, Love FM Family Party in the park. I'm when you're G. There's some now.
Oh, this is the third time, yeah, that I'm being here. Make us say Afibia Obi Amra. I had your fun.
And so from organization perspective, we want to know if target has been met. Comparing this year to last year, have you exceeded? Have you met target yet?
I think you need to testify that yourself. You can see the numbers just behind us. Comparatively, this year looks a little better than last year in terms of the numbers. So it has been very overwhelming. It has been very wonderful, and I'm so excited. I'm super excited looking at the numbers. Around 12 p.m. thereabout, the weather was not too good, but we're still praying to God to give us a very good weather, and it has been a very successful event. In fact, 2026 looks super. 2026 looks so good. So the people of Kumasi should watch out for bigger events coming their way.
We get to have direct consumer engagement. We get to have a large crowd to sample our products, and then we get to have some for the cooking. We get to have some to give out for packages, you know, for our awards. So yes, Target, we get to get closer to our consumers. If they have questions, they can ask. They get to experience our products, you know, firsthand if they have not already, and if they have, they get to feel that yes, we appreciate them.
I mean, we had a target. We didn't get that target, but we got quite a good number of deals or leads, which we are impressed with it. Yes, we got quite a number of leads that we can take home and work on.
This is what has been from a Love FM family party in the park. And just as I said before, with all the patrons who are excited and dancing until they are tired, until their shoes are exhausted, they are not leaving the dancing floor. And so we can just wish you a happy new year and wish all patrons who made it to the Love FM family party in the park that next year we will meet again. I've been reporting for JoyNews. My name is Clinton Yeboah.
And this is The Pulse with me, Mami Nyamiche Thompson. We'll return after this break. And the countdown is on as the city prepares for one of the biggest throwback parties of the year, 90s Jam. It's set to light up the night with classic hits, iconic performances, and non-stop entertainment. We've already started in the studio in here as some multimedia staff reliving the nostalgic days. But let me go right to the full lines and speak to Lexus Bill. Lexus, what are we to expect tonight?
Listen, it's a party tonight, and like you can tell, I'm right here at Pleasant Gardens. I'm live at the entrance, if you can see. Yeah, so this is the entrance to the party. It's just about to pop up. Literally everything is set. Sure Ghana will fill this place up tonight. We're bringing you the ultimate 90s party. Everything set, everything on deck. Sound is ready. Amazing sound from Silicon House. I can show you what it looks like right now. I mean, the party has already started here. Yeah, so tonight it's a celebration of the golden era. Call it a 90s. Yeah, so there you go. Let me just turn my camera. I'm sure you're going to see the stage as well.
Right.
Yeah, all set. All the final touches are going on. And the venue is all set. Literally. Yes.
So tonight is going to be popping. I mean, I'll see you there, Lexus. Thanks so much for that update. Some of our colleagues have been singing some of the 90s jams that they had been listening to back in the day.
I don't want your number, no. I don't want to give you mine, and no. I don't want to meet you, no, and no. I don't want none of your time, no. I don't want no scrap. Scrap is the guy that can gain no love from me. Yo, if you love these music, I mean, this kind of songs, yeah, you know, we get to relive oldest moments this evening at the Pleasant Gardens inside Jolu. It's all about the Joy FM 90s Jam. Listen, it's the first Friday of the new year, and how best are you going to start the new year than showing up at the Pleasant Gardens? Come, let's jam, let's wind down, be in your best 90s outfit. Bring the afro hair, bring the baggy jeans, the FUBU shorts, the filler boots. I mean, what not? Your Tims, what?
Back then, our songs used to be very interesting. Back in the days, yeah, our song used to it used to hit. When you hear the 90s song, like, yeah, now boy, nice, like it was jamming. Let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatters the war for a new sun, a new day has come.
We must have been stone crazy, 'cause we thought we were just friends. I've been thinking about you, baby. Okay, so the question right now is, do you know the artist or the group that sang this song? Yeah. You'd be like, Matada, I've heard it before, but I don't know who sang or the group that sang it. Well, 90s Jam is happening tonight. You have to pull up. You understand? It's all music, vibes, everything from the 90s, all the way down to, let's say, the 2000s, yeah.
I mean, what more can I add if you're not jamming at the 90s Jam tonight at Pleasant Gardens at Jolu? Please be there. It starts at 8 p.m. I'll definitely be there to continue my dancing. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of The Pulse.